Hello, and welcome to Chess Book Reviews 141. In fact, we're not going to be looking at magazines. We're not going to be looking at books. We're going to be looking at two magazines, both recent. In fact, one of them only arrived today. Mr. Rosman is coming to London and is going to be giving a talk. And Levy Rosman versus the chess world. What's wrong and what's right? And there's an interview. This is the May issue of BCM. Is the future of chess decided by players or streamers? Well, I'm a very prickly streamer, very little moisture compared to these people, but nevertheless, I would have thought no, it isn't, because if people weren't playing tournaments and proper matches in the World Chess Championships and competing in national championships and for national places in teams, what would be the point? Influences like Gotham Chess, which of course is a reference to Batman, because Batman came from Gotham City, didn't he? It mentions Mr. Radich. I've never heard of Mr. Radich. The Botez sisters, I've heard of them. And Anna Cramling, I listen to most days. And they are racking up, Rosman, 6.25 million subscribers, nearly as many as I've got. If you would like to be one of my subscribers, please like and subscribe down below. I'm talking about chess freestyle, which I don't like, but what I mean is I don't play it myself. I don't mean I don't like the fact they're talking about it. I have a good time, but it's not the traditional game of chess, and I don't see it's any better. It is, however, different. And they have coverage of the Ladies' World Championship, which has just concluded in China. I followed all the games. Can't normally say that, but I did. Says this was a convincing win. Convincing win for the reigning champion. Judith Polgar was amongst the commentators, and so was England's Yovi Hauska. And here's Ju, looking studious, I suppose you could say, and perhaps proud. Yes, proud. There's nothing wrong with that. We all should be proud on occasion. And here's the lady that unfortunately didn't do too well. That was the challenger. I think I've got them round the right way. She lost 4 games in a row. They were all hard fought. I mean, I was, so to speak, in the audience, not live, but, as they were being played on real time. And believe you me, they were tough games. Yes, this is an example, you won't be able to see it too well, of school children being brought in. You see the photo. I really don't sort of like Venetian funerals in the 18th century or whatever. They just bring in people for the sake of it. No, I remember, at school, a teacher said, would you like to go down to the local church and look at the bullet holes in the door, because there was a skirmish there, Roundheads and Cavaliers. Oh yes. Oh, I don't know if any of you have seen it before. Oh no. And it was about as thrilling as some disgusting hole which has been riveted in the wall, in the door, in the wood of the door, and restored 100 times over. But here, if somebody said, would you like to go to a chess match? They'd probably say yes. And how many of you can play chess? And you get people putting their hands up and so forth. Not really convinced that adds anything. And here is her crowning. It looks a bit like a beauty contest. I'll get in trouble for saying that, but you know what I mean. Just an interesting trophy. played 9 games, and the challenger only won 1, Tan. She won game 2, and then she lost 5 out of 6. That was harsh, wasn't it? There's the European Ladies Championships. The winner lost in the first round and then won 9 off the reel. Well, good. She was the Serbian number 2 seed, opened her campaign in Rhodes with a painful loss. Well, her name is Injak. Teodora Injak. As usual, I can't pronounce it. I must assume she's the lady in the middle, smiling broadly with the dark hair. But if she isn't, let's see. Yes, she's the one in the middle, smiling broadly. That's nice. Those were the 3 medalists, anyway. I haven't played through any of these games. I probably will, though, but for the moment, I haven't. I've got other fish to fry. And here's Levy, who is coming to London, and there's an interview with him, quite detailed. What about chess and TV? Chess is a complicated, frustrating game and not an easy TV product, but creating short, engaging videos like a gambit with a silly thumbnail gets people interested. That's what works. On women's chess, I hope for a future where someone like Judith Polgar isn't a unicorn that is never to be replicated again. A unicorn, a mythical figure. And there she is with Carlson. I don't quite know what that has to do with Levy, but leave that to the experts. Do you think speeding up the game is necessary for wider appeal? You could have a fast classical format, say 45 minutes per side. It's not anti-classical. I find it fascinating, but I'm on the 0.001% of chess fans. Most people don't want to watch 7-hour games. Classical is unpredictable. Could end up in 3 hours or go on 100 moves. Yes. And of course it's unpredictable because it's a game and not an exact science, isn't it? An article by Ray Keane. An offer you can't refuse. An iteration, what chess teaches us about diplomacy, deadlock, and deception. And then Ray touches on quite a few classical positions. Bernstein versus Smyslov. The Trojan horse problem. This isn't Ray. See that? Ben Schulz and BCM. Quotes and queries still going strong with Alan Smith. He quotes a couple of, or 3 games by Charles Warburton, C.W. Warburton. He used to write for Correspondence Chess, didn't he? That's a very good writer, very good player. an advert for Pete Tambora's book there. F.D. Yeats and Ratey. Ratey on the left. Problem World by Christopher Jones. Double Nelson. A short story. This is the concluding part. Obituary for Olafsson, Grandmaster from Iceland, also FIDE, World Governing Body President. A solution to the Trojan horse problems, which was set earlier. A solving challenge from Ian Watson. And that's it. And an advert at the end to subscribe, which obviously I recommend you do. Well, from a picture of Levy to a picture of Levy. Gotham Chess comes to London. He's not coming to the Chess and Bridge Centre, I don't think, or he may be popping along there later. Once again, they deal with the death of Olafsson. Here he is playing Petrosian. They've just played a couple of moves. There you are, and they're stopping for the photographers. Levy on tour. Oh, that's nice. Malcolm with Ivan Schuch. Malcolm Payne there in the middle. Looks like they're holding him back. I don't think they are. Even if they were, he'd cope with it. Matthew Wadsworth, how he became England's youngest Grandmaster, reaching 2,500. And that's on the ELO scale, of course it is. An article by the Ginger GM, Simon Williams. One of a waterfall and then of some cows. If you can work out why there's some pictures of the cows and whether you prefer the spray and the noise of the waterfall, I leave that to your judgment. But Simon is a very good-humoured man, so it's nice to see something unusual in a magazine, and it is explained, I'm sure. And here he is with his gang and also with his trophies, the trophies. There we are. Yeah, they look like they're great guys. Daniel King. I played through this game, not all of it, but a bit. The difference between the Pelican and the Kalashnikov Sicilian. And I think for once I understood the difference. It's a question of move order. And black applying pressure on the centre. An interview with Mr. Roger Williamson. I don't know Roger Williamson. Well, that's my shortcoming. Seems a very good-humoured man, and I think he's a coach as well as a player. Here we are, Nigel Short and George Botterill playing. But it's, in fact, not an article about Nigel Short at all, I don't think. They're talking about his 1986 book, which he wrote in collaboration with Tim Harding. I don't think Tim's mentioned, actually, but he should be. Anyway, that's maybe, that's very trivial. Find the winning moves. I actually managed to do one or two of those earlier. It's been improving. Some adverts for Quality Chess and Popular Chess. Two lively publishers, very lively. Through the Looking Glass, a recent donation of a private Lewis Carroll collection caught John Henderson's eye. The Scottish journalist, John Henderson. I met him many years ago, nice chap. See that? Alice in Wonderland illustration. So you've probably seen them before. John Tenniel, is it? I didn't even check. Yeah, I think it is. An article about Frank Marshall by Ben Graff, the novelist, and a great deal more, I think. How Chess Life Imitated Chess Fiction by Roger Williamson. It's the same guy. Review of Zweig's book and the book Master Prim, which I've never read. My shortcoming. Karl Hafner's Love of the Draw, which is a book about a novel about Schlechter, which I would very, very heartily recommend. Some of these books are okay, but that is special. Never mind the Grandmasters. Here's Carl Portman, nice chap, talking about Lewis. This is not Lewis as in Isle of Lewis chessmen. William Lewis, 1787 to 1870. He certainly lived a long life, particularly for Victorian times. How to beat a grandmaster. Paul Littlewood. The Mighty Manx. That's the team, not the island. They now have independent status in the eyes of FIDE, the world governing body. There's Simon Williams, whom I mentioned earlier. Bearded Simon. If you can beat him, you're a good player. Lots of home results. I love to see this. Look at this, congresses. Look. More congresses and games. Some photos. Graham Jones. Is that a beefeater, is it? Hang on. Yorktown Crier. Ben Fry. Okay, well. In other words, it isn't. Overseas news. Results and studies with Stevenson, Brian Stevenson. A column which, in my opinion, is missed out too often. Brian Stevenson. Yeah. This month he reviews a slim volume celebrating FIDE centenary. One endgame study in the thousands. Book reviews, which I always enjoy very much indeed, by Sean Marsh. I don't know Sean personally, but he certainly knows his onions. Forthcoming events, i.e. diary, dates, from Cornwall to Cambridge, from Warrington to Nottingham. Also mentions a couple of international events, one in Bucharest, the other in Norway. And at the back, John Saunders. There's John. Saunders is on chess, you can see. I can never hold it still, can I? But nevertheless, you and Subscribers Club, that's worth, if you're a subscriber to the magazine, you get a decent discount, and most of them in the UK, I think, are postage free, even if it's an absolute whopper. And let's face it, that's worth having. Thank you very much for your time. Please like and subscribe. If you want to subscribe to the magazines, all you have to do is Google them, and the rates will come up. But please like and subscribe to my chin wags, as I call them. Thank you very much. Goodbye for now.